Chant and dance as much as possible in this human form of life.
Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadaliye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamine Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya Hema Badibhachavisundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Hare Krishna. Before I begin, I would very humbly want to prostrate myself at the lotus feet of my spiritual master Shri Srimad Srila Radha Govinda Goswami Maharaj, and at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and the whole of Gaudiya Guru Varga, from whose work and commentaries I will be presenting today's discussion. And finally, I would want to offer my very humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas to pray and beg for your best wishes so that I may speak something favorable in line with the Gaudiya Siddhanta and predecessor acharyas. Hare Krishna. So, as we are all aware, this is the month of Purushottama that is going on, the holy month of Purushottama, which comes roughly once in 2.5 to 3 years. And to add to that, this week marks the World Holy Name Week, where devotees from around the world are coming together and chanting the holy names of the Lord and beseeching the Supreme Lord to kindly shower His mercy upon them by the means of the holy name. So keeping this theme of the holy name, we will be discussing about the names of Krishna, which are also holy, not technically the holy name, which is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but we will be discussing a few names of Krishna, which are very holy in nature. And to be precise, we will be discussing a very famous verse, which we are all aware, right from a toddler to an adult who is practicing bhakti. Everyone has come across this verse, and we all chant this verse when we offer our obeisances to Sri Krishna. The famous verse of Hey Krishna, karuna-sindho, dina-bandho, jagat-pate, gopesa, gopika-kanta, radha-kanta namostute. So we will be discussing this phrase, this verse, and maybe tapta kanchana gaurangi, that can be discussed at some other time. But this itself, these beautiful names of Krishna have so much content that it will be very difficult to describe the next two lines of Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, which describe Radharani in one lecture. So our prime focus for today's discussion in an hour's time would be to discuss these names of Krishna. So as we know, this verse, it starts with Hey. Now this is not an casual hey that we use in English, unlike in English when we have to call someone, we say hey. But that's a casual hey that we use. But in Sanskrit, when we use the word hey, it denotes the mood, it signifies the mood of total dependence or total surrender, or called as sharanagati. Surrender in Sanskrit is called as sharanagati. So this word he in Sanskrit denotes total dependence. When Draupadi was in the assembly, when the Vastraharan was taking place, how did Draupadi call out to Krishna? Hey Govinda! She called out to Govinda by using the word hey. Hey Govinda Rakshaswamam. My dear Lord, please protect me. But the word used before Govinda was hey, which is my dear Lord, please protect me. Similarly, we find Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going through the jagat-pate forest, we find this narration in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going through the jagat-pate forest, he induced all the animals, all the birds, bees, everyone unanimously, along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, were chanting the holy name. But what was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanting at that time? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kaviraj Goswami says, he was chanting Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 hey. So the hey, here again we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is using, which is denoting complete surrender. Similarly, another very beautiful verse, which Bilva Mangala Thakur quotes, and Srila Prabhupada comments on it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. A very beautiful verse, where he's again beseeching the Lord. But now just look at this verse that Bilva Mangala Thakur composes. He says, Hey Deva, Hey Daita, Hey Bhuvanaika Bandho, Hey Krishna, Hey Chapala, Hey karuna-sindho, Hey Nata, Hey Ramana, Hey Nayanabhirama, Ha ha kadanu bhavitasi padam drashorme. He uses different names of Krishna, and all the names are preceded with a hey. In one verse, there are 9 heys that Bilva Mangala Thakur composes. And at the last, he says, Ha ha kadanu bhavitasi padam drashorme. Alas, my dear Lord, when will that day be mine, when I can again see you eye to eye, face to face? So there again, we see the use of hey. Similarly, the Brajavasis, when they would call out to Krishna, how would the Brajavasis call out? The Brajavasis would say, Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Sakheti, Govinda Damodhar Madhaveti. Again, we find the Brajavasis would say, Hey Krishna, Hey Yadav, Hey Sakha. So many times we find in different instances, whether it is the Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita or Draupadi of the Mahabharata or Bilva Mangala Thakur in his work, they all use this word of hey. Srila Rupa Goswami, as we already discussed, this word hey denotes sharanagati or complete surrender. And Srila Rupa Goswami gives symptoms of this sharanagati. If you remember last year, His Grace Gauranga Prabhu, when he came to ISKCON Seattle, our temple, he did a seminar on the 6 symptoms of sharanagati, on the 6 limbs of surrender. So the first limb, Srila Rupa Goswami says, is anukulyasa sankalpam, doing things that are favorable in bhakti. What is the example? Example like fasting. We do not like fasting. We all unanimously agree to this, whether it is Ekadashi fasting or it is Pandav Nirjal. We unanimously don't love to fast. We do not love to keep our belly hungry for 24 hours, but we do it because that is good for our Krishna bhakti. We do it because Krishna is pleased by following Ekadashi Vrat or by doing Pandav Nirjal. And if Krishna is pleased, that only accelerates our spiritual life. Sooner or later, because Krishna is pleased, we will go back home, back to Godhead. So we do it not because we like it, but because Krishna loves it. So that is anukulyasa sankalpam, doing things that are favorable for bhakti. As far as this fasting is concerned, I remember Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj. was once at ISKCON Chapati. And for those who have been to ISKCON Chapati, or those who have been to any of the ISKCON temples in India, will very well know that every temple has a restaurant called as the Govindas. Unlike the US, in US we generally do not find a restaurant in the temple, except for maybe Kalachandji in Dallas. But every temple in India has a temple associated called as Govindas. So Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj was once in ISKCON Chapati, and he was coming with one devotee. And outside the Govindas was one person or one devotee who was eating a pizza. And it was the day of Pandav Nirjala Ekadashi. So he was eating an Ekadashi pizza. And this devotee who was walking with Radhanath Maharaj was completely fasting. So it looked at Radhanath Maharaj and said, Maharaj, look at him. On a day of Ekadashi, he is eating pizza. So Maharaj heard, and Maharaj made a very beautiful statement, something that which we all can remember. Maharaj, he said that he is eating a pizza, his ego is fasting, but his stomach is feasting. But for you, your stomach is fasting, but your ego is feasting. Such an important point. Maharaj said for him, his stomach is feasting, but his ego is fasting. But for you, your stomach is fasting, but your ego is feasting, which only means that if we feel that we are better than someone, then we should go and at least have pizza. But even after having a pizza, if you feel that we are better than someone, then there is some problem in us. Then there is no solution. So we do things that are favorable for our bhakti, like fasting, as we discussed. Second quality that Srila Rupa Goswami gives is pratikulya savarjanam, rejecting things that are unfavorable. Even though we may like it, but because they do not help us on this path of bhakti, we just kick them away. Like adoration, like name, fame, recognition, prestige, pride. These things for a materialist are something they love to hold on to. But for a practitioner of bhakti, these things do not help him attain the spiritual goal. So we just kick them away. What are a few examples? Like watching TV or watching movies. These things do not help us on this path of bhakti. In fact, whatever bhakti lata, beej is there in the heart, whatever little bhakti is there, when we watch TV or movies, that bhakti lata is completely uprooted. After bahu janma, billions of lifetime, we get bhakti, little bhakti in our heart, and that we completely destroy by watching TV or by watching movies that are completely against the path of bhakti. So Srila Rupa Goswami says, pratikulya savarjanam, kick them away that don't help you on this path of bhakti. What are a few other examples? Gossip. We see when two people come together, invariably, they end up criticizing the others. This tongue, this muscle is naturally used to glorify the self and is naturally used to criticize others. Seldom do we find that when two people come together, they end up praising another person. Srila Radha Govinda Maharaj always in his lectures, he says that when two people come together, they will always end up criticizing, which is gossip, which will not help them on their path of bhakti, but will in fact degrade them from the path, from the point that they are already there. So pratikulya savarjanam, we kick such things away that do not help us on this path. Third quality, rakshishyate vishvaso, having firm faith that Krishna will protect me. Come what may, Krishna will protect me. Krishna protected Draupadi, Krishna protected the Pandavas, Krishna protected Prahlad, Krishna protected Dhruva, Krishna protected Gajendra, Krishna protected Ambarish, Krishna protected the gopis. So many places Krishna is protected, and why will Krishna not protect me? So this is a quality of someone who's completely surrendered. He has full faith that Krishna will protect him. And indeed, Krishna does protect that person who has complete faith. So Rakshishyate Vishwaso, third quality. Fourth, Goptritve Varanam Tatha. Fourth quality is that Krishna is my maintainer. Krishna will completely maintain me. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he writes a complete song to denote the 6 symptoms of Sharanagati. He says, Dainya Atma Nivedana Goptritve Varana Avashya Rakshibe Krishna Vishwasa Palana Avashya Rakshibe Krishna Vishwasa Palana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori Swaparshad Sviya Dhama Saha Avatari. Very beautiful song Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes. To denote these 6 symptoms of Sharanagati, that is surrender, he writes a whole song. And dear devotees, if we have not come across this song, I highly recommend to chant this in this month of Purushottama, because this song not only glorifies Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but also glorifies his dear associates. It goes by the name Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori. So all these symptoms of Sharanagati that Rupa Goswami gives, whether Anukulyasa Sankalpam or Pratikulyasa Varjanam or Raksheshit Iti Vishwaso Goptritve Varanam, all of them denote just the one letter, Hey. As we discussed in the start, this Hey denotes surrender. And what is surrender? Rupa Goswami explains by these 6 symptoms. So just by saying the word Hey, we get the benefit of complete Sharanagati. And whoever has composed this verse is so intelligent that he has not kept the word Hey in between the words, but he has kept it in the start of the verse. So this Hey goes with all the words. It goes with Hey Krishna, it goes with Hey karuna-sindho, Hey dina-bandho, Hey jagat-pate, Hey gopesa, Hey gopika-kanta, Hey radha-kanta, namostute. So he keeps it at the start so that by every name that we say, we not only get the benefit of chanting Krishna's name, but we also get the benefit of complete surrender or Sharanagati. And that is why one of the reasons we are told to chant this verse when we offer our obeisances to Shri Krishna. Similarly, in big festivals, we find Avirbhav or Tirobhav, the appearance or disappearance day. We say, Srila Rupa Goswami ki Jai, Srila Sanatan Goswami ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Gurudeva ki Jai. So this word again, Jai, is similar to the Hey. Just by saying Jai, we invoke the mercy of Rupa Goswami. We invoke the mercy of Sripad Sanatan Goswami. We invoke the mercy of Prabhupada. We invoke the mercy of our Gurudev. So externally, we may think, oh, it is just a Jai or it is just a Hey. But this one letter has so much significance. So this is just the first word, Hey. And then what is the next word? Krishna. Hey Krishna. This word Krishna is so significant. Now for those who are writing down, for those who are not writing down, I would highly recommend to write. And for those who are writing, will understand the discussion that we are now about to discuss. Srila Jiva Goswami gives a very beautiful interpretation on the meaning of the word Krishna. And this is something which we may have not come across. So Srila Jiva Goswami says this word of Krishna can be split into 2 words, that is Krish and Na. So we have the name Krishna. Jiva Goswami says this word can be split into Krish and Na. Now Jiva Goswami continues, this word Krish has 2 meanings, while the word Na also has 2 meanings. The first meaning of the word Krish is existence, or called as Sat. If you remember our discussion on Radhashtami, we discussed this aspect of Sat, Chit and Ananda in detail. So Jiva Goswami is saying, first meaning of Krish is called as Sat or existence. And the second meaning of Krish is called as attraction. Akarshanam. Sarvam akarshati iti Shri Krishna. That person who attracts the whole cosmos is Krishna. So he says there are two meanings of Krish. First is existence, that is Sat, and second is attraction. And now he gives two meanings for Rna. First meaning of Rna is Nivritti, meaning removal or to uproot. And second meaning of Rna is joy, Ananda Swarup. So just to reiterate what we discussed, Krishna can be split up into Krish and Rna. Krish has two meanings. Rna also has two meanings. The first meaning of Krish is existence, that is Sat. The second meaning of Krish is, as we discussed, is attraction, Akarshati. And similarly, Rna also has two meanings, that is Nivritti or removal. And the second meaning is joy. Now, dear devotees, just look at the brilliance of Jiva Goswami. Each word can go with the other word. For example, this word of existence, that is Krish. Existence can go with Nivritti, existence can go with joy. Similarly, attraction can go with Nivritti, attraction can go with joy. Now, what does this mean? Krishna, with his existence, can uproot our material tendencies. Krishna can uproot or remove, that is Nivritti. Krishna can remove our material existence from this world. That is the first meaning. Second meaning of Krish is attraction. So Krishna with his form can completely remove the Rajogun and Tamogun that are there in our heart. Krishna with his Tribhanga Lalit Shyam Sundar form can completely remove everything that is there in our heart. And the second meaning is attraction, or second meaning is of Krish is, as we discussed, is existence. So Krishna is the embodiment of complete joy. Krishna is Ananda Swarup. Parabrahma iti abhidiyate. Iti dvayam parabrahma Krishna iti abhidiyate. Srila Jiva Goswami says, when these two letters, Krish and Na, come together, Parabrahma, it gives supreme joy to the heart. It gives supreme happiness to the heart. Krishna is not filled with happiness. Krishna is happiness. We see even in Vrindavan, for the occasion of Krishna Janmashtami, they say, Nanda ko anand bhayo jai kanaiya lalaki. Which means Nanda Maharaj, Nanda ko anand bhayo, the embodiment of happiness came in the life of Nanda Maharaj. Who was that embodiment of happiness? It is Sri Krishna. So Krishna is not filled with happiness. Krishna is happiness. He is Ananda Swarup. He is Sakshat happiness. Srila Rupa Goswami, he says, I cannot understand how much nectar is there in these two words, Krish and Na. Krishna. He says, how much nectar is there in these two words? Tunde tandivini ratim vitanute tundavali labdhaye, Rupa Goswami says. He says, when I hear the word Krishna, I desire thousands and thousands of tongues, so that may my tongue always keep vibrating the word Krishna. And when I chant the name Krishna, these names enter into my ears. And when they enter into my ears, I do not desire hundreds of ears. I do not desire thousands of ears. I do not desire crores of ears. But he uses the word arba, which means Rupa Goswami desires 100 crores of ears. He says, there is so much nectar in this word Krishna that I desire thousands of tongues. I desire crores of ears. And when this name enters into my consciousness, when this name enters into my chitta, my senses completely go inert and I fall to the ground unconscious just by hearing the name Krishna. So we may feel, oh, this is something that happens to me also. When I remove my bead bag, my senses go inert and I lose track of what is there around. But what we experience, that is not transcendence, but that is yoga nidra. That is nidra. That is nidreshwar or nidreshwari. That is not transcendence. But what Rupa Goswami experiences is real bliss. So when we chant the name of Krishna, Rupa Goswami is saying there is so much happiness. Then why is it that we are not experiencing that happiness? What is the mistake that we are doing because of which we are not able to experience that Rupa is experiencing? Why is that we are not experiencing that happiness that Sanatan Goswami or Jiva Goswami or Srila Prabhupada or our Gurudev is experiencing? What is the mistake that we are doing that they are not committing? We see, when it's a gloomy day, it's very difficult to understand, especially if you are in Seattle, because every day is gloomy here. So we see on a gloomy day, the clouds are completely present in the sky, in the horizon. But does that mean the sun is not existing? No, the sun is still existing like before, but it is just that the clouds have covered the sun. Just like any other day, the sun is still present, but the clouds have now covered the sun, because of which we are not able to see the sunshine. Does this make sense? Similarly, in our practice of Krishna Bhakti, the sunshine is Krishna's name, and the clouds are our offenses. They are our aprad. The aprad, which is like the cloud, has completely covered the sunshine of the holy name, and because of that, we are not able to see anything. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. Chaitanya Charitamrita describes this holy name is Krishna Avatar. He's Krishna himself. So he can give you complete happiness. He can give you complete joy. He can give us complete bliss. Srila Sanatan Goswami also makes the same point in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. He says, Jayati Jayati Nama Ananda Rupa Murare. Who is this name? Jayati Jayati Nama. All glories to the holy name. Ananda Rupa Murare, who is the embodiment of happiness. Just like Krishna is the embodiment of happiness, similarly, the holy name is also embodiment of happiness. It is Ananda Swarup. Ananda Rupa Murare. So again, the question is, why is it that we are not experiencing happiness? What are we doing wrong? It is something to contemplate in this month of Purushottama. It is something to contemplate in this week of the holy name. And Rupa Goswami, very kindly, he comes to our rescue and gives us what the problem is. In the Nectar of Instruction in verse 7, Rupa Goswami says, Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitape Vidya Pitopatapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kintva Dharad Anudinam Kalusaiva Justa Swadvi Kramad Bhavatita Gadamula Hantri. Nectar of Instruction, text 7. Those who have studied the Bhakti Shastri will be very well aware of this analogy that Rupa Goswami gives. Rupa Goswami says that our tongue is infected with what is called as jaundice. Our tongue is not a normal tongue, but it is infected with jaundice. Why jaundice? Why not any other disease? Well, because the characteristic of jaundice is when the person is infected with jaundice, even when he drinks a sugarcane juice, he finds the sugarcane juice extremely bitter. Now we all know sugarcane juice is very sweet. Perhaps if there is anything that comes after a mango, it has to be a sugarcane, the sugarcane juice. But a person who is infected with jaundice, even when he drinks a glass of sugarcane juice, he finds it extremely bitter. Now, is the sugarcane juice actually bitter? No, it is very sweet, but because his tongue is infected with jaundice, he is not able to taste the sweetness. Similarly, is the holy name bitter? No, the holy name is sweet, but because our tongue is infected with aparad, with the 10 offenses to the holy name that we recite every day in the morning, because of that, our tongue is infected with this disease of jaundice. And that is the reason we are not able to taste the sweetness. You see, externally, a bamboo and a sugarcane may look exactly the same. We see, we have a bamboo, especially when we have to construct a pandal, we find we have the bamboos. So externally, a bamboo and a sugarcane look exactly the same. So externally, as far as sound is concerned, material sound and the holy name may seem one and the same. because material sound is also made of syllables. Holy name is also made of syllables. So we may think, oh, holy name is exactly like that of the material sound. But we all know that there is a great difference between a bamboo and a sugarcane. Sugarcane is inherently very sweet, but the bamboo has nothing inside it. Similarly, the material sound, the Bollywood songs, or any of the other songs in the daily soaps and the TV serials, they are just like that bamboo. They are completely hollow. They do not give anything to our heart, but in fact, they contaminate the heart even more. Already there is so much junk in the heart, and when this material sound goes, it doesn't cleanse our heart, but it increases the junk. And it is for this reason Prabhupada would always say no to movies, whether Bollywood, whether Hollywood, whether Tollywood, or no to TV serials, because they don't help solve the purpose. But on the flip side, dear devotees, the holy name is like that of sugarcane. The sugarcane we see, externally it looks like the bamboo, but when it is put through the machines, when it is put through the rods, when it is crushed completely, that is when the juice comes out. What does this mean? When the holy name is put through the machine of sadhana, when it is put through the rods of rigorous sadhana, getting up early in the morning, chanting our rounds, following the 4 regulative principles, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, serving Vaishnavas, these activities are like the rods that are found in a sugarcane shop. When the rods, they crush the sugarcane rod, that's when the juice comes out. Similarly, if you want the juice of the holy name, if you want to experience the sweetness of the holy name, we have to go through the struggle of sadhana. That means the rods. When the blades hit the sugarcane rod, that's when the juice is there in the juice basket. Similarly, when we do rigorous sadhana, not just for one day, not just for 2 days, but for days together, days and weeks and months and years and decades together, that is when the sadhaka can experience the juice of the holy name. So it's not an overnight affair, but that doesn't mean we give up on the practice of sadhana, because as we discussed, only when the sugarcane goes through that rod will the juice come out. Similarly, only when the holy name is put through the sadhana of chanting minimum 16 every day, not just on Purushottama, not just during Kartik, but every single day chanting minimum 16, and in fact increasing our sadhana in these months, that is when we can experience the sweetness of the holy name. So this is just the name Krishna. When we go through this proper sadhana, then as Rupa Goswami says, we can experience this juice of the holy name. So this is Hey Krishna. And then what does the author say? He uses the next word, karuna-sindho, which means an ocean of mercy. Karuna means mercy, and Sindhu means an ocean. So Krishna is referred to as the ocean of mercy. Now we are taught about the water cycle in our school, and we think that, oh, this is a Western invention, the scientists have discovered. But actually, if you see, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur 500 years back is explaining transcendental water cycle to us in the first verse of Guru Ashtakam that we chant every day in the morning. What does Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur say? Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Samsara dava nalalidha loka tranaya karuna ghana ghanatvam praptasya kalyana gunaranavasya vande guru shri charanaravindam vande guru shri charanaravindam. Composed by Vishwanath Chakravarti. What is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur saying? He is giving us an example, dear devotees. Krishna is like that of an ocean. His mercy is like that of an ocean, karuna-sindho. But we are in the desert. Can the desert go to the ocean? No. Does the ocean come to the desert? No. So we are stranded in the desert. Can we go to Krishna? No. Does Krishna come to us? No. So how will we get Krishna's mercy? How can we access that karuna-sindho? Well, we all know that there is only one thing, one personality that acts as a via medium between the scorching heat of the desert and the ocean water, that is the cloud. The cloud very mercifully takes water from the ocean and goes to the desert and showers the water on the desert. Did the desert ask for it? No. The cloud does it out of its compassion. Who is that cloud in our lives, dear devotees? It is Sri Guru. Can we access Krishna? No. Does Krishna shower his mercy to us? No. Who is that personality who acts like that clouds and connects the Jiva and Krishna? That is Sri Guru. Sri Guru very mercifully takes the mercy from Sri Krishna and showers it on the Jiva and acts like a via medium. Gu shabdattu andakarasya ru shabdatama nirodaka andakara niroditva guru iti abhidiyate. The definition of Guru is described. Who is Guru? Gu shabdattu andakarasya. The word Gu means darkness or ignorance. And Ru shabda tamo nirodaka. And Ru means to kick out that darkness. Andakara niroditva. That personality who kicks ignorance out. That personality who kicks illusion out from the jiva, from the life of the individual, is called as Guru. Andakara niroditva Guru iti abhidiyate. This is the definition of Guru. That personality who kicks illusion away from the heart is called as Guru. But nowadays, we have swimming Guru, we have cricket Guru, we have yoga Guru. And if you go to the Mumbai local trains, in the trains you will find love Guru. But this is not the definition of Guru, dear devotees. It is not love Guru or cricket Guru or yoga Guru or swimming Guru. They are all teachers. But Guru means someone who kicks the illusion away from the heart and connects the jiva to Krishna by giving transcendental knowledge. This is something we emphasized even in our previous class when we were discussing about Haridas Thakur. So this Sri Guru has compassion that he has taken from Krishna and he showers on the jiva. And just like Krishna or just like Gauranga Mahaprabhu, their associates also have the same level of compassion. They also carry the same mood. And the best example, dear devotees, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes is Vasudev Datta. Madhu-kanta, Madhubrata and Madhu-kanta came down as Mukunda Datta and Vasudev Datta, the two singers from Krishna's abode. They came down as Mukunda Datta and Vasudev Datta. And Vasudev Datta is such an example of compassion. He would pray to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, my dear Lord, the whole world is going down the drain. Whole world has become Bahirmukha. They have become bereft of this jewel of Krishna Prem. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is my very humble desire. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what is your desire, Vasudev Datta? He said, my dear Lord, my very humble desire is, let me take the sin of all the living entities. Let me suffer for lifetimes together. But my dear Lord, let them go back home, back to Godhead. Let them taste the sweetness of Krishna Prem. I am ready to suffer for millions of lifetimes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But I cannot see so many jivas being Bahirmukha. I cannot see so many jivas being bereft of Krishna Prem. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, but Vasudev, what will I do without you? If you take all the sins, you will suffer for all of them. They will all come back, but you will suffer and I will be bereft of your association. So Vasudev Datta, when he heard this, he told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, if from a bag of mustard seeds, if one mustard seeds fall, who cares for that one mustard seed? It doesn't make any difference. My dear Lord, I am like that one mustard seed. If from the bag of associates who are like various mustard seeds, if they all can go back home, back to Godhead, but if one person like me doesn't go back home, what is the loss? So my dear Lord, I beg you to give me all the sins of all the Vaishnavas so that I can suffer, but let them go back home, back to Godhead. This was the mood, dear devotees, of Vasudeva Datta. And in our movement, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj signified this mood of Vasudeva Datta. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would time and again pray that, my dear Lord, please give me the suffering of all the living entities, so that even if I suffer, that is fine, but let them go back home, back to Godhead. So much compassion, so much karuna. This only the associates of the Lord can have. And when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj prayed this way, very soon he was detected with cancer in 2004. So the same mood of Vasudeva Datta was signified by Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, Prabhupada's disciple. Another example from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes is Haridas Thakur. Srila Haridas Thakur was whipped in 22 marketplaces for every single day. And what was his fault? Nothing. He was chanting the holy name, and that was the reason he was being whipped. Nowadays, there are so many people who do so many wrong things and get away. But here was Haridas Thakur chanting every single day 192 rounds, and he was being whipped at 22 marketplaces. And after being whipped at 22 marketplaces, what is Haridas Thakur saying? He's saying, Khanda khanda deha jai jadi jai pran tabuna vadane chodibo harinam. My dear Lord, khanda khanda deha jai jadi jai pran. Even if I am beaten and whipped and all my bones fall to the ground, and even if I lose my life, jadi jai pran, still tabu na vadane chodibo harinam. But still, my dear Lord, this tongue will not leave chanting your holy names. This was Haridas Thakur. This was Thakur Mahashai. So in the Mahaprakash Leela, Vrindavan Das Thakur describes in Srivas Angan, in the courtyard of Srivas, in the Mahaprakash Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his back to Haridas Thakur. And when Haridas Thakur saw the back of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it had red lines of whips. There were so many red lines, and Mahaprabhu's back was completely bruised. So Haridas Thakur saw this and asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, what is this? How is it that your back is completely black and blue? And all the other associates, they also saw, Advaita and Srivas, Gadadhar, they also saw, and they asked the Lord, my dear Lord, what is this? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he told Haridas Thakur, my dear Haridas, because you were chanting the holy names, I was embracing you from behind. So when they were whipping you in their back, I was actually embracing, and that is the reason you did not feel any pain. But I took all the pain upon myself because you were always chanting the holy names of Shri Krishna. Your tongue was always vibrating, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, because your tongue was vibrating, my dear Haridas, I embraced you from behind, and that is the reason I took all the whip marks on my back, Vrindavan Das Thakur says. So when Haridas Thakur saw this, he looked at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, Mahaprabhu, but what happened to them? What happened to those people who were whipping? What happened to their destination? And Mahaprabhu, he looked at Haridas, he looked at all the associates, and he said, referring to Haridas Thakur, he said, his prayers for their deliverance was more intense, was more powerful than their whipping on his back. I repeat, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Haridas Thakur's prayers for their deliverance was more intense, was more powerful than their whipping on his back. And my dear Thakur Mahashai, for this reason, even though they whipped you on your back, even though they did Vaishnava Parad, they are liberated. They have gone back home, back to Godhead. So when a pure devotee showers his compassion, when he prays, then even the impossible becomes possible. So this is a very important point, dear devotees, whether it is Vasudeva Datta of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, or whether it is Haridas Thakur of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, both of them signify this mood of compassion, of karuna, which only means that if we desire a spot in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, we should also possess this quality of karuna, of compassion. Without possessing this quality of compassion, there is no question of being in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And this is not something that we can practice on our own and we will imbibe this mood. There are 52 weeks in a year, and how many good qualities? 26. So we cannot think that, okay, first 2 weeks I will practice humility. Next 2 weeks I will practice compassion. Next 2 weeks I will practice tolerance. By the time we'll reach tolerance, we will forget humility. This is our predicament. So on our own accord, we cannot practice or imbibe these qualities. But who can give this? Nam can give it. The holy name can give it. So everything that applies for Krishna holds true even for the holy name. The holy name is karuna-sindho. The holy name is most merciful. The holy name is most compassionate. All the qualities that Krishna has, even the holy name possesses. Never is there a point where the holy name has something less than what Krishna offers. In fact, the holy name can give much more than what even Krishna can give. That is why we say the holy name is most merciful. So Nam can give us this karuna, this mercy that we are looking out for. In the south, there was one devotee, one alvar, as we have discussed in our previous discussions. We discussed upon the Andal alvar, one of the 12 alvars. And here in this instant, there was one alvar who was taking darshan of the Lord, taking darshan of Ranganatha Swami. And it was the time for the Utsava Murti to come out, that is the Archa Vigraha to come out. And as we know, the Archa Vigraha is very small in size. So the Archa Vigraha was to come out, and there was a parikrama that was planned. So this alvar was standing in front of the Lord, in front of Ranganatha Swami, and taking darshan. And a few devotees were coming. They were holding a palki so that they can place the Lord in the palki and take it for a parikrama. So they were coming with a palki and they were asking everyone, hey, move to the side, move to the side, move to the side. So everyone moved to the side. But this Andal, he was so absorbed that he couldn't hear. So this person who was holding the palki became so angry that he took one coconut and hit it on his head. And this alvar, he fell to the ground and was completely bleeding. He was hit by a coconut. Can we even imagine? He was hit by a coconut and was completely bleeding. And when they went inside and opened the small curtain for the Archa Vigraha, the deity, dear devotees, was completely bleeding. This is a real story that happened. The deity was completely bleeding because the pure devotees of the Lord are the limbs of the Lord. They are not different from the Lord. That is why when we please the devotees of the Lord is pleased. But we offend the devotees of the Lord is displeased. So the Lord was bleeding and they tried to carry the deity of the Lord, but they couldn't pick up the deity. 5 men tried to carry a deity which was only this much in size, but they couldn't do it. And they were scratching their head and thinking, what has happened? Why is the deity become so heavy? And why is it that the Lord doesn't want to come out for the parikrama? So the lead pujari who was there, the head pujari, he sat down in meditation and he could connect with the Lord. So when he sat down to chant his mantras, the Lord revealed to him the whole situation. The Lord told him that one of your palki members hit my devotee, the alvar, with a coconut. And because he was offended, that is the reason I don't want to move. So first go and pacify him. So the lead pujari who was there, he understood and he told the Lord, my dear Lord, please tell us, how can we pacify? What is it that we can do so that we can please that devotee and also please you in return? So the Lord said, first thing, make sure that that bleeding is stopped. Pick up that devotee and put him in the palki that you were supposed to take me in. That same palki that was designed to take me for the parikrama, that same palki should be used for him. keep him in the palki and take him for a parikrama. And who will pick up the palki? That person who hit that alvar, that person who hit the alvar with the coconut, he will carry the palki ahead. When this happens, I will get up from my position. So as the Lord advised, they found where this alvar was, they held him and they kept him on the palki. They took him for a parikrama, and that person who hit him with a coconut was holding the alvar ahead. He was holding the palki. And only when the whole parikrama was done, that is when the Lord was being lifted. So which means the Lord is showing that if the devotees of the Lord are offended, the Lord doesn't shower his karuna. Vajradapi kathoram kusumadapi sukomalam. The Lord can be softer than a lotus, but can be as hard as a thunderbolt. He doesn't compromise on his principles when his devotees are offended. When Vaishnavas are offended, the Lord doesn't accept our offerings. But we find there is one person who, even after all the offenses are done, he is still ready to accept us. That is Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Madhai threw the pot at Nityananda Prabhu's forehead, on his face, and still Nitai was ready to forgive him. Who is Nityananda Prabhu? Nitai is Adi Guru Nityananda. Just imagine if all the gurus of all the sampradayas around the world come in one body, how powerful that person will be. That is Sri Nityananda Prabhu. He is Adi Guru, Akhanda Guru Tattva. That Nityananda Prabhu was hit on the forehead with a pot, and still Nityananda Prabhu begs at the feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and tells Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, please forgive them. Krishna, if we are a Nam Aparadhi, Krishna rejects us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if we are Nam Aparadhi, but we are Vaishnava Aparadhi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also rejects us. But Nityananda Prabhu is so merciful. You are Nam Aparadhi, theek hai. You are Vaishnava Aparadhi, theek hai. You are Dham Aparadhi, theek hai. You are Jiva Aparadhi, theek hai. Okay, come. Nityananda Prabhu doesn't have any consideration. Whatever aparadh we do, Nityananda Prabhu embraces us. Preme matta Nityananda kripa avatar uttama adhama kichu na kare vichar jai aage pade tare karoe uddhar. He doesn't discriminate who is high and who is low. Anyone who falls at the feet of Nitai, Nitai is ready to rescue them. So if we want to access the karuna feature of the Lord, if we want to access the karuna-sindho aspect, then it is only two things that can help us. That is Nam and Nitai. Through Nitai, we go to Gauranga, and then we go to Radha Krishna. Heno Nitai Vinay Bhai, Radha Krishna Paitenai. Without Nityananda Prabhu, we will never get Radha and Krishna. And this mood of Nityananda Prabhu, this mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of karuna, of compassion, was exemplified by our Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada took this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, having deep compassion in his heart, to give it to the Western world. Prabhupada, 37 days he traveled in a cargo ship that carried junk. Dear devotees, it was not a passenger ship. It was not a ship where passengers could go. It was a cargo ship where all the junk metals are taken. And in one small seat, Prabhupada traveled, having 2 heart attacks. Mother Malati, Prabhupada's disciple, in 2016, when ISKCON Boston was celebrating 50th arrival anniversary of Srila Prabhupada, they were all the Prabhupada disciples were in a ship to celebrate the 50th anniversary. And Mother Malati, when it was her time to speak, she said, it has been 37 minutes. I'm already feeling dizzy. And my Guru Maharaj spent 37 days in such a ship to come and rescue all of us. She said, this is Prabhupada's compassion. This is karuna-sindho. It is only Prabhupada who could have done this. So Srila Prabhupada has taken the mercy of Sri Krishna and given it far and wide. And there is one thing that we all are not familiar with. But when Prabhupada came to America, for 8 days, Prabhupada fasted because he didn't know where the Indian store was. For 8 days, Prabhupada did not eat any single thing. He did not have winter clothes. There was no GPS. There was no WhatsApp. There was no means of communication, dear devotees. It was so cold. He did not know anyone. He did not know whether to go left, whether to go right. And in such a precarious situation, Srila Prabhupada fasted for 8 days. Why? For us. So that he could give that compassion, that karuna-sindho aspect to us. There's one devotee I remember who was translating the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita into a different language. And he said that in 6 months, he could translate only 2 chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Said it was so difficult that it took 6 months just to translate 2 chapters, and Srila Prabhupada translated the whole of Chaitanya Charitamrita in 2 months. In 1974, Prabhupada in 2 months translated the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita. And when the disciples, they initially heard that Prabhupada wants to translate the whole of CC in 2 months, they said, Prabhupada, this is impossible. We cannot do it. This is impossible. And to that, Prabhupada replied, impossible is a word in the Fool's Dictionary. I'm not asking you, but I'm telling you, Chaitanya Charitamrita should be out in 2 months. And rightly so, because of Prabhupada's desire, the whole of Chaitanya Charitamrita came out in 2 months, and devotees had sleepless nights. His Grace Gauranga Prabhu in one lecture was saying that when the printing of Chaitanya Charitamrita was going on, the disciples of Prabhupada would sleep at printing press because they did not even want to waste 1 second. They would sleep on the printing press, and next day morning, they would again get up and print. So this is how much Prabhupada and his disciples have toiled so that we get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya and Sri Krishna. So this is karuna-sindho, dear devotees. Hey Krishna, karuna-sindho. And then what is the next word? Dina-bandho, friend of the poor. We should always remember this point that Krishna is the property of those who possess nothing. Krishna is the property of those who have absolutely nothing. Queen Kunti in her prayers, she says, Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri Edamana Madhapuman Naivar Hatya Abhidatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gochara. She says, my dear Lord, you are the property of those who are materially exhausted. Those who have a lot of material education, lot of wealth, they also have a lot of head weight. And because of that head weight, we will never get Krishna. But Queen Kunti says, my dear Lord, you can be acquired only by those people who are materially exhausted. Tvam akinchana gochara. And the best example, dear devotees, is Kolavecha Sridhar of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Kolavecha Sridhar, people did not even know his name. They would say, hey, Kolavecha. Kolavecha means banana leaf seller. His name was Sridhar, but Kolavecha means banana leaf. Because he would sell banana leaf, he was called as Kolavecha Sridhar. But people did not even know his name as Sridhar. They just knew Kolavecha. He did not have proper clothes to wear. He would wear tattered clothes. He did not have a proper house to stay. Thatched roof. That too during rainy season, the water would leak. But still, he would be very happy. And Nimai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was small, called as Nimai, Nimai would come and he would argue with Kolavecha Sridhar for 2 hours, Vrindavan Das Thakur says. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would bargain with him. Already he would sell at a very minimal price, but still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say, oh, no, it's very expensive. You have to reduce the price. I cannot pay so much. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would argue with him. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would ask, what will you do with so much money? You are charging so much for a banana leaf. What will you do with so much money? So Sridhar Kolavecha would say, oh Nimai, with this money, 50% I will use for worshipping Ganga. So Nimai would say, worshipping Ganga? Ganga Devi flows from my toenails. What is the use of worshipping Ganga? And Sridhar Kolavecha, when he would hear this, he would say, oh Krishna, Krishna, Vishnu, Vishnu. Oh Nimai, don't say this. But this is true. This is fact. Ganga Devi flows from the toenails of the Lord. Bhagirati Sukha Dhaini Mata Tava Jala Mahima Nigame Kyata Naham Jane Tava Mahimanam Pahi Krupa Mahima Jnanam. Ganga Devi actually flows from the toenails. When the Lord as Vaman, as Urukram, he took his second step, the toenail ruptured the material shell, and that is how Ganga Devi descended. But Sridhar Kolavachai would say, my dear Lord, please don't say this. And the Lord, as Nimai, he would say, what are you getting by worshipping Krishna? You're worshipping Krishna, but look at your attire. You are wearing tattered clothes. You don't have house to stay. The water is leaking. But look at them. Look at your neighbors. They're worshipping Ganesh. They're worshipping Brahma. They're worshipping Shiva. They're worshipping Chandra, Agni, Varuna. And they're living a luxurious life. Why don't you worship them? What are you getting by worshipping Krishna? And Nimai said, you have a lot of wealth. You have a lot of wealth. And one day, Kolavecha, I will expose all your wealth. I will expose you in front of everyone. What was the wealth Nimai was talking about? It was not material wealth, dear devotees, but it was the wealth of prema bhakti. It was the wealth of love of God, which Sridhar Kolavecha had in his heart. A simple banana leaf seller. So during the Mahaprakash Leela again, when all the devotees were getting their desires fulfilled, Sridhar Kolavecha was standing, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at him and said, Kolavecha, tell me, what do you want? I can give you anything. Do you want the mystic perfections? Anima, Lagima, Mahima, that Rupa Goswami describes in Nectar of Devotion. Do you want all these perfections? Do you want Vak Siddhi? Vak means tongue and Siddhi means perfection. So Vak Siddhi is that perfection when a person says anything, that thing becomes true. Even if it is not there in our destiny, but if that person has Vak Siddhi and he says, oh, you will get so and so, then we will definitely get it. That is Vak Siddhi. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, do you want Vak Siddhi, Kolavecha? So Kolavecha Sridhar said, my dear Lord, what will I do with Vak Siddhi? It will look so funny that a banana leaf seller has Vak Siddhi. What will I do with Vak Siddhi? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, tell me, what do you want? Do you want kingdom? Do you want wealth? Do you want prestige, name, fame? Kolavecha, I can give you anything that you desire. Please ask me. Kolavecha said, my dear Lord, I don't want all these things. I am happy by selling banana leaf and I am happy worshipping Krishna. I am happy by whatever I get. I do not want all these perfections and wealth and kingdom. I don't want all these things. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, my dear Kolavecha, please ask what you want. I can fulfill anything that you desire. And at that point, dear devotees, Kolavecha says, my dear Lord, if you so insist, I want only one thing. May lifetime after lifetime, I be a banana leaf seller. And may lifetime after lifetime, that same Nimai come and argue with me and steal my banana leaves away. My dear Lord, I don't want anything else. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he heard this, he had tears in his eyes and he said, so be it. Lifetime after lifetime, may you be a banana leaf seller, and lifetime after lifetime, I will come as that Nimai Pandit and argue with you and steal your banana leaf. This is dina-bandho. Krishna is the friend of the poor. Another example is that of Sudama, dear devotees. Sudama did not possess anything, but Krishna still did not reject him. In this world, people are behind name, fame, and money. But if someone is poor, they are rejected completely. But in Krishna's world, Krishna accepts everyone, including those who are completely poor, even those who are completely pauper. And Sridhar Kolavecha from Gaur Leela and Sudama from Krishna Leela are the best examples. That is why Krishna is called as dina-bandho. So till now we discussed, hey, Krishna, karuna-sindho, dina-bandho. And then the word is jagat-pate. Jagat-pate means Krishna possesses everything. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, aham sarvasva prabhavo matta sarvam iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. Krishna says, aham sarvasva, everything emanates from me. And that is exactly what this verse is, jagat-pate. Krishna has this Shakti. He can make fire into snow, snow into fire, mountain into sand, sand into mountain, water into land, land into water. Krishna can do anything because he possesses every single thing. And that is also the reason Krishna is called as Jagannath. He is the Lord of everyone. So someone can think, oh, Krishna is called as dina-bandho. He is only the friend of the poor. So does that mean that Krishna is not the friend of others? So immediately a contradiction is made in the next word by saying jagat-pate. He is not only a friend of the poor, but he is also a friend of everyone. Everything comes from Krishna and he is the master of everyone. So, Hey Krishna, karuna-sindho, dina-bandho, jagat-pate. But dear devotees, these are all the secondary names of Krishna. These are all the secondary names. But now in the next line, the primary names are described. The mukhya names are described. Secondary names are called as gauna nam. And now in the second line, the primary or the mukhya names are described. What are the mukhya names? Gopesa, gopika-kanta, radha-kanta. Now they are more streamlined. These names are confidential, more confidential, most confidential. So the first word is gopesa, means the Lord. Isha means Lord and Gopa means the Gopa community. So gopesa means Krishna is the Lord of the Gopas. So when we say Gopas, it includes Dasyaras, it includes Sakyaras, it also includes Vatsalyaras because they are all classified under Gopa community. So in Dasyaras, we have Raktak and Chitrak and Patrak, who are the servants of Krishna. And in Sakyaras, we have Subal, Sridham, Madhumangal, Kinkini, Stoka Krishna. And so many other associates, so many other friends of Krishna. And in Vatsalyaras, we have Nanda Baba and Mother Yashoda. So Krishna is the Lord for everyone. Gopesha. He's the Lord for Dasyaras. He's the Lord for Sakyaras. He's also the Lord for Vatsalyaras, but not Madhuryaras. Gopesha cannot be included in Madhuryaras. Gopesha. And next word is gopika-kanta. He is the Lord of gopis. So this is a more confidential name. And this name, dear devotees, is something that even the Brajavasis don't know. Because at night, when Mother Yashoda puts Krishna to sleep, she thinks that Krishna has gone to sleep. But when everyone has gone to sleep, Krishna sneaks out at night to be with the Braja Gopis. He is Gopika-kanta. He is Gopinath. He is Gopi Jana Vallabha. He is the Lord of the Gopi Janas. There is a difference between Gopi Vallabha and Gopi Jana Vallabha. Or there is a difference between Gopinath and Gopi Jana Vallabha. The difference is Gopi Jana Vallabha means he is the Lord of the Gopis, Gopi Janas. But Gopinath means he is the Lord of Gopi. Which Gopi? Radha Gopi. So Gopinath is a more confidential name than Gopi Jana Vallabha. So Krishna is called as Gopika-kanta, the Lord of the Gopikas, the Lord of the Gopis. So now, dear devotees, we are not talking about Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. We are not talking about Ayodhya. We are not talking about Dwaraka. We are not talking about Mathura, but we are talking about Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, we are not talking about Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, but we are talking about Madhurya. And in Madhurya, we are talking about Krishna's love for the Braja Gopis, Gopika-kanta, he being the Lord of the Gopis. And lastly, most confidential name is Radha-kanta. Krishna is the Lord of Srimati Radharani. He is Radhanath. He is the Lord of Srimati Radharani. During the Ras Mandal, when Radharani left the Ras Mandal, Krishna gave up all the 60 billion gopis to go and be with Srimati Radharani. This is Radharani's position. Mahabhava Swarupatvam Krishna Priya Varyasi Prema Bhakti Pradedevi Radhike Tvam Namamyaham. She is Mahabhav Swarup. And her heart is filled with unadulterated, unmotivated, undeviated love for Sri Krishna. And one drop of that love, if it is got down, it can make the whole world Krishna conscious. And dear devotees, that is exactly what Prabhupada did. He took the love from Srimati Radharani's heart, a drop of that love, and spread it around in the means of Krishna consciousness as the ISKCON movement. Similarly, Radha-kund is embodiment of Radharani. It is melted prema. It is the melted form of love, of her love for Sri Krishna. And that same melted prema, dear devotees, is seen in the Bhaktivedanta purports. These Bhaktivedanta purports are not mere mortal purports. They are not the prose of a book of Sidney Sheldon or Agatha Christie or J.K. Rowling, but these Bhaktivedanta purports are actually the heart of Srimati Radharani. And only someone who's so dear to Srimati Radharani can bring that down, like Srila Prabhupada. So these Bhaktivedanta purports are the essence, the summum bonum, the sum and substance of devotional life, which is so easily accessible in our house. Every house practically has the Bhagavatam, it has Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it has Bhagavad Gita. And all of them has the Bhaktivedanta purports, which is actually nectar drops from Srimati Radharani's heart, the love that she has for Sri Krishna. So it is my humble request in this month of Purushottam, we don't keep this book as it is. We take out these books and access this mercy that Prabhupada has given us, which is actually the melted prema of Srimati Radharani. We take use of these books and try to go deeper in this month of Purushottam and try to fly our plane back home, back to Godhead with the help of Srila Prabhupada's books. In this way, to wrap up our discussion, we discussed the primary and secondary names. So the first line were the secondary names and the second line was the primary names. So we discussed He, Krishna, Karuna-sindho, dina-bandho, jagat-pate. These were the secondary names or the Gauna Nam. And the next line we discussed the primary names: Gopesa, gopika-kanta, radha-kanta, namo. I offer my obeisances to all the different assets of Krishna in the form of his secondary and primary names. In this way, having said this, I thank all the devotees for very kindly being in this call. And if there were any mistakes, I would humbly seek forgiveness. And if there was anything good that came up in this discussion, the credit goes to Srila Prabhupada and our predecessor Acharyas. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.